tabs that I've gotten errors that I couldn't resolve, and I couldn't figure out why it was an error.
Yeah, that's why MindTap, because it's a grader, you know, it's programmatically grading your stuff. If you even don't put a space where they're looking for it, which has absolutely nothing to do with whether your Python is correct or not. So that's why I try to do those in class when we had lecture class, and then my online had those lectures to look at where they could see. But what I've told students in the past is if it won't work, but you know your code gets the right answer, then you know you can download your code. It has a download button at the bottom in MindTap, or you can copy and paste it into PyCharm or IDLE, whichever you're using. And if it runs and gives you the correct answer, then you just do a screenshot of that and put it there. And if there's not a place to submit a file, then just, if you've tried to do it, then I go ahead and give you credit. But that's why today I would like to go through those Unit 5 ones, and then we can, also sometimes what I do, let me see here, let me show you what because like on, I think it was Unit 3 or 4, I gave you the code, the actual code after, I think it's in Module 2. Like down here on some of them, like here, understanding if statements in Python, then I put the actual Python code there for you. And that's what it goes to. It's the actual answer to what they're looking for. And so when I knew I wasn't going to be able to lecture through those, you see each one of those I did include there. And so if you still haven't gotten those, you can take that and put it in your MindTap and it should run. And if it doesn't, then open it in PyCharm or one of the others. PyCharm or IDLE, I'm sorry. And then I also did that video for Project 2, and I was going to, I think this maybe had test 2 in it, but anyway, if you do have any questions about that, let me know. Let me see what these instructions, because I didn't redo these for this time. Okay, that was the loop assignment. That's the guy with the video is what that is. So he explains loops, and I have you do it. And then I didn't add that review one for test 2 because I think I did do a Zoom meeting maybe. Complete MindTap Python if you need to run them in PyCharm. Yeah, this is what I was just saying. If you read this, this tells you complete MindTap. If you need to run them in PyCharm, that's always an option. And if MindTap doesn't give you 100%, that's what you can do. And then the links to all the ones were down here. So that's what you do for that Module 3. And Module 3 is where our next test will be over loops and functions, because I didn't go ahead and include functions in this one. Now this is another one that Braden said he had trouble with, right? Braden's still in there, right? Let's see. Let's see, I only see 2 of you guys for some reason.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which one to do.
Okay, so this, okay, the reason there's 2 options here is because last semester I did different ones, and you can do whichever one you want and submit it, and it counts, you know, the same. I think that's why I gave students an option last time. So in-class assignments, yeah, because since we didn't have in-class this time because of this thing that's happened, then I gave you the option. So here's the Unit 5 lecture. Okay, here's all the ones that I did in class last semester. And so I included them in a zip file. And this is a screenshot of the PyCharm run of the quiz sheet corrected. And so what I said was you could do either one of those 2 and submit them for that assignment. And there should be, let me see, this would be, I'm probably going to be able to find the video from last semester and I'll load it out there, but I'll go in and show you what we did, and since we're in this Zoom meeting, because this is for Unit 5. So did anyone else do this assignment yet? So if you download this, let's see, let me find it. Fundamentals in class. Let's see. I guess I did a zip file. I don't think that's it. Huh. Okay, let me go back to, let me go where I had it last semester. It would have been fall of 19. Let me open that file that I did. It's probably here. Let's see if I can find it. Unit 5 dash. There it is. Okay, so it has, okay, so what I'm going to do, so we can see what all I did that other time, I'm going to go over to Cengage so I can get Unit 5 up here. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm so slow. I'm telling you, I found out with my eyes yesterday from my accident that it's going to be at least 8 weeks before I can see out of my right eye. So it's kind of a odd thing. Let's see. Okay, Unit 5. So everything I do takes me longer. I can't get in a hurry with anything. Let's see. Code. Okay, so before I do that, before I go into the code, let's look at the chapter, and I want to kind of go along with these files. Figure 1. I wonder why I did that one. I don't know why I put this one in Unit 5 unless it's a loop. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Oh, it is a loop. Okay, here's where I just took the simple hello program where you print hello, and I was demonstrating just a real simple loop where if you initialize a counter, anytime you're in a while loop, different than a for loop, you have 3 steps in every loop. You have to initialize before you start the loop. You have to start the counter with, you have to initialize it with 0 so that when you add to it, it starts out with 0. And you say, then you increment, then this is the test of the loop. This is the body of the loop. And then this is where you alter it. That's why I included this in that zip file, is because no matter how many body statements you have, these 3 parts have to be in every while loop. And it's called a definite loop because you're going to go through the loop an exact number of times. You can use something that I show you a problem a little later on called the sentinel control loop. So if you don't know how many times it's going to be when you change or you input a value, and when the value, like say you're reading in grades and you don't know how many grades you're going to input before you create the average, but you you want to say whenever I enter 999, then that means I'm done. So that's called a sentinel loop because it's controlled by the sentinel. A sentinel means an off signal, end of file. Used to, when I coded in not object-oriented languages, we would read in the old days a reel-to-reel tape, and the file would have an end of file marker is what it was called. And so when you're reading through and doing the same thing to every value, then you're in a loop. So every loop, that's a definite while loop, definite controlled. You can have a sentinel controlled. If you've read chapter 5, then you know what that is. But a definite loop, you have to initialize a counter, and your variable can be named anything you want. I just named it count. And so I initialize it to 0. I test the control variable. And sometimes you'll be testing it against another variable. Doesn't have to be a hard value. But here, what is this program going to do? Anybody tell me before I run it? Anybody know? What's it going to do?
It's just going to print hello 5 times.
Correct. So that's what this does, is it just, when I run it, it's going to, oops, you can see that. Let me put it over here. It's just printing hello 5 times. So if I wanted to, say I wanted to have an input value here, and I wanted to say, instead of a counter, I wanted to control it by a sentinel loop, that I could put an input statement, and I have to have a priming input, it's called, where I give the value. So I'm going to take this out. Or actually, I think I have one done that way. Let me see. No, I don't want to say that. Okay, so one of these may be like that. Let me see. Yeah, this one is. Okay, this one is still has an initialized statement. Sometimes we call this a priming input because it's going to set a value. So this is a variable, real long name variable called should continue. And it's a while loop that is only going to continue if this value is Y. And so it says, right after you get into the while loop, it says input, what is your name? And then print hello plus name. Here's the alter condition. So instead of like in my last one, that was a definite control loop, I had to add to my counter. Well, I still have the same 3 steps. I have an initialize, I test the loop, then here's the body of the loop, and then I have to alter the condition. If I don't alter the condition, or in the last loop, increment the counter, then I would have what's called an infinite loop. Is this print statement part of my loop? No. Good, Michael. It is not. I saw you shaking your head. Thank you. And so it's outside the loop, and the way I can tell is because it's even with my while, it's not indented. So that's something that I need to remember, is some things I didn't want goodbye to print every single time through the loop. So it's outside the loop. So if I run this one.
And honestly, on this one, shouldn't you initialize with a yes to guarantee it runs at least once?
Yes, but see, there are times when you're going to have programs that you don't even want it to run once. So yes, here when it asks, do you want to continue? If I don't put yes, it won't even run once. You're correct. Was that Blake? Who said that?
That was me.
Yeah, okay. So here we go. Y, and what is your name? Do you want to continue? So now I can put yes, it'll go through again. And I can say that. And then when I put no, it should print goodbye. There it is. So if I did what you said and did not initialize it, okay, let's run it again. And I don't know why I don't have PyCharm up. It always defaults to my idle here, but okay. So if I say, do you want to continue? I would say no, and it won't even run one time. But that's valid if it's a sentinel loop. You want to determine whether it's going to run or not. So that's the two kinds of loops that are covered in Unit 5. So then we did this payroll program and this quiz sheet. So let me go through here for a minute through the chapter a little bit. And hopefully you guys have done that. Let me just go here. I'm not gonna. Okay, this is just something that your test, when you do the MindTap test, it'll go over that. So here's the definite loop with a counter that we just did. This is figure 5-3. So if I was doing pseudocode for it, you remember this is a comment. My declarations are saying num count equals 0. So this is the one that I did the Python for, right? But here's the pseudocode for it. And you notice in pseudocode, just like ifs have end ifs, whiles have end whiles. But in coding, the Python, you don't actually say end while. And you notice also in my Python, let's see if I can get it back open here. In my Python, there's certain rules for coding a while loop that you have to remember. Let's see. Oops, why now he's opened on my other screen. Okay, so, oh, let me take those spaces out of there. Okay, so on a while loop, just like on an if statement, you have to, in Python, you have to put a colon there. So this matches pretty close, except for I didn't put this should have a print goodbye right here too. Print. Oops. Where's my eyes messing up? Print. Goodbye. Okay, so that matches my pseudocode. And if I wanted to put the comments in, because you remember on test 2, I didn't require, or yes, I did require pseudocode or flowchart. Now on test 3, if you comment it, like here, you said, hashtag declarations. Oops. Yep, there's my eyes messing up again. Where did that go? Where's the count? It's over the 4. No, where's my hashtag? I can't even see. I'm gonna have to get my glasses. Let's see if that helps. Where's the, oh, it's over the 3. There we go. Declarations. So if you comment where it tells me exactly what you're doing in every step, like this would say body of the loop, body, print hello. So that is the same as pseudocoding. So with Python, it's such a textual language and it's so close to pseudocode that I let you, from here on out, if you know how to flowchart and you know how to pseudocode, then the Python is so close to just pseudocoding that I let you comment on the test, and that you get as many points if you do it correctly. And we'll go through some of them before the next test so you'll know. But this is the pseudocode, and this is the flowchart for that same program. So you see every statement that's in here is also over here in the flowchart. And you'll notice those 3 steps that I said are important. They highlight that, or they coded here. Loop control variable is initialized. Loop control variable is tested. Loop control variable is altered. And I guarantee you, you're going to, because I do it, I've done it many times. When you do a loop, there's going to be some times that you forget to do this. And so then your loop will just keep going and it will never end, because count would stay at 0, right? It would never increment, so it would never become, it would never get less than 5. Let's see how I can make this one go on forever. So if I don't alter this, if I go here and I run it, watch what's, oh, you didn't get to see it because it's over here. It just kept going. See, it's still printing hello, because it never changes count. So count stays 0 and it never gets 5 or greater. And so that's what will happen sometimes if you forget that step. Also in the sentinel loop, it'll do the same thing if you don't do that. So that's why those 3 steps have to be in every while loop. Okay, so this was, and here it just talks about that in the chapter. It goes exactly through what I just did. It says, because you frequently need to increment a variable, many programming languages contain a shortcut operator for incrementing. And that's where in this one, oh, I took it off. I did plus equals. Let me get that back. That's the shortcut that it's talking about. Let me go back here. See here. Oh, we should come up here and it won't. Okay, file. This is here. Okay, so on here, you'll notice that I said plus equals, which is the same as saying count equals count plus 1. Oops, equals. Okay, that count plus equals is the shortcut for this. And so all languages, or most languages, have a, you can also do this. You can also say, in some languages, but it doesn't work with Python, you can say plus plus, like Java, C++, that will automatically increment count by 1. So those are shortcuts, and that's why that was in there that way. Because if you're just adding to the same variable, you don't have to type it out. But if it makes more sense to you to continue to say, count equals count plus 1, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, this is a logic class, so I want you to understand the logic, not the shortcuts of the language. You'll learn those when you take scripting, if you take it. So here's a video where she talks about looping. We talked about a counter. We're going to talk about arrays in chapter 6. That'll be the last thing we cover this semester. That's what your test 4 will cover. And you have to understand loops to be able to understand arrays. Okay, these are some of the common mistakes. So that's where it tells you if you leave out the testing, you leave out the altering the loop control, it'll turn into an infinite loop. That's what's going through. Now, the for loop is a little different. It still has to have those same parts to it. It has to have the initialized, the tested, and the altered, but it's different because it's done in one statement. See, a while loop, you have to have this statement, like while count is less than or equal to 3, you have to have your initialized. But in a for loop, all 3 things are done in one statement. In other words, this initialize, test, and alter is all done in the for statement. See, it says for count is equal to 0 to 3. So it's saying as long as count is 0 to 3, then step through the loop by 1 and output hello. Now, to actually code it in Python, it's a little bit different. Here's the one done in, this is in Java, a for loop that displays, okay, this is one done in C++, C#, and Java, and that's where the increment is, and then it just outputs count. So you see in a for loop, it's a lot shorter. The 3 actions, initializing, evaluating, and altering the loop control, are separated by semicolons within a set of parentheses that follow the keyword. Now, I don't think, let me see if I did. I'm not sure if I did a for loop in Python over here or not. Oh, I lost the unit. Oops, didn't spell it right. Unit 5. There it is. Okay. So let me see. That one didn't do that. Let me see what the payroll does. It may have a. Where'd it go? Well, let's see here. Must be going behind my screen here or something. Nope, that's not it. My idle's open somewhere. There it is. Okay, so let me okay. Oh, here it is over on my other screen. Okay, so this one is a little more complicated. It has functions. You remember we've been talking about functions. So the main program, now this is a while loop. Okay, in the payroll program here, this is my comments. It says main loop declaration, quit is equal to all X's. So I'm initializing it to all X's. So then I give the user down here a chance to determine if they're through, if they have no more employees to calculate the payroll with. So the whole program is right here, but there's calls to the function. So this one, let me see, it should be in the chapter. Let me go back to first before I go to this. Let me see where that program is in here. Using the maybe this one. Yeah, I think. Okay, this is what I used to build that program, but I actually, the payroll may be one in MindTap. That may be why I'm doing it. But this one has functions. This is the pseudocode that has functions, and it uses, but it still uses a, is it using a while loop? Let me see here. Yeah, it's using a while loop to determine how many times it's going to go through the detailed part of the report. So the reason I had you do one or the other, they're actually, I give you the answers, but I did them. Let me see if this one is. Oh, this one's going to open in Python. Oh, that's what I wanted. Open. Payroll. Here's the one. Okay. Now let me get it over here. I know one of you guys said you have a class at 11. Oh, it's only 10. Okay. So this one I started in and I didn't finish this one. So let me get that one open. And it's going to have, but that isn't the quiz sheet. Let me go back. Go back to the quiz sheet one. I'll just open it with idle because it's not doing right. Didn't do right there either. It won't open with idle, I guess. Okay. What is it doing? Okay, let me close idle here and then it will, I think. Payroll is behind. Okay, here it is. Quiz sheet, it's going to be just a while loop also. So I haven't, okay, so today we're going to work with just the while loop. I'm not even going to show you one. I'll get one out there and on for loops. I'll find the video where I did for loops too. But in this one is actually in the chapter, and that's why I did this one. If you go, let's see if I can find the right one. Because it's the example. Did anyone find that on that page? It's like, let's see. There's an example of printing out a quiz sheet. I thought it was comparing that structure. Let me see. Maybe it's here. Maybe nested loops. Yeah, here it is. Okay, this is the quiz sheet. And so they have you write a program that will nest loops, because you see this loop needs to be nested inside the part loop. And the part loop is nested inside the whole quiz because it's going to print out more than one quiz. So here is the pseudocode for it and the flow chart. And what it tells you is, in figure 5-8, quiz name controls the detail loop module that is called from the mainline logic. So you remember when you structure, when you have functions, you have the program, the mainline logic that starts, and the whole program is actually right there in the mainline logic, and it goes in and makes calls to the function. So part counter controls the outer loop within the detail loop module. It keeps track of the answer sheet parts. And the question counter controls the inner loop in the detail loop module. It keeps track of the questions and answer lines within each part section on each answer sheet. So here are the declarations that you start at the top. And you remember in Python, we don't have to declare a string name. And we don't have to make these declarations up here, but we do have to initialize them. So housekeeping is just a function where they go in and enter the quiz name or quit to quit, and then they then they ask for input. So this is the initialize step. And so here it says, as long as quiz name is not equal to quit, then you want to perform detail loop. So this is the mainline logic. See, it goes down to end of job. These are how they code in flowchart. Now in Lucidchart, you remember they don't have this particular shape. They just have a shape that has vertical lines, not one horizontal line. But that's what this means. You can tell this is making a call to the function because it has parentheses after it. So it's going up here, it's starting here, doing this one, then it returns back to directly under housekeeping. Then it asks the question, do I want to keep going? And if the user up here put a quiz name in, then you're going to go to detail loop. Detail loop starts right here, and it says output the quiz name. So whatever quiz name that the user entered up there in housekeeping, you're going to output it here. Then this is where you're going to initialize the counters. So here's the loop that starts here, and has the initialize step, the test of the control variable, and then it goes here and it alters the control variable of I'm sorry, it doesn't alter it until here, because this loop is nested inside this loop. So here is the pseudocode, which looks more like what our Python will look like. But the difference in our Python, where do our functions go, at the top or the bottom in a Python program?
Top.
Top, very good. And in the book, in MindTap, in our book, they always put the functions at the bottom because in pseudocode it doesn't matter. But in Python, they need to go at the top. In some languages, like C++, they can be at the bottom or the top. So here is where the declarations, and in Python, we actually don't have to do these declarations. But if you want to, we have to do these. Parts equals 5, because these are constants, right? Parts equal 5 and questions equal 3. And this is also a constant. Part label equals part and line equals this. The only ones that we don't have to do is, this is just listing all the variables that they're going to use. And they also, this is a constant. Quit is set to ZZZ to start out with. So quit is all Z. So these are constants. So you would make these declarations, which are your constants. And then you make a call to this function called housekeeping. So when it gets to this line of code in the pseudocode, it's going to go down here, execute this. It's going to output to the user, enter quiz name or quit to quit. Because you notice quit is initialized to all Z's. So if they don't enter quit, but they enter a quiz name, it's going to be put in this value. Input quiz name, so it's asking the user here. So it's doing it in 2 statements. This would be 1 statement in Python. Then my detail loop is I'm going to output the quiz name. I'm going to initialize my counter for my loop. I'm going to test the loop. And then here's the body of the loop is actually going to be a nested loop. See, while, end while. So it's got a nested loop in it. So my alter for my part loop is down here. So the 3 steps are there. The initialize, the initialize step, the test of the control, and the alter. So in my nested loop, I still have initialize, test of the loop, and my alter. So every loop has that. And then my actual, this is the actual loop that says, do I want to ask for another quiz? Do I want to print out another quiz sheet or not? Okay, so if I look at my quiz sheet, no, that one's not it, this one. So if I look at the actual Python, is there any questions about that, what I just went over? Anybody? Okay, I can't see the other people that are on their face. I only see Michael and Blake. So you guys have to tell me. All right, so creating the answer sheet. So this is just a comment that tells me what this program does. Then here is the function called housekeeping. And I would want to write out here, if I was not pseudocoding, I would want to write what housekeeping does as my comment. But this is matching the pseudocode that's in your book. And so we have these 3 functions, but our mainline logic starts right here. So here, we did not put the constant 3 and 5 for parts. Why did I not do that? Did I do it somewhere else? Oh, because I didn't want to pass them to the function, I do that here. See, in the detail loop, instead of doing it in my main logic, I initialize by constants inside detail loop, so that then I don't have to pass them into that function. Okay, so here in the main loop, I've got quit equals ZZZ, and then I say name equals, I'm going to make a call to housekeeping, and I'm going to return the name of the quiz here. So if I look up at housekeeping, I've got housekeeping input, enter a quiz name or ZZD to quit, print that name, which was in, and then return in. So it's going to return whatever name I enter there and dump it into this name right here. Then I'm going to say while name is not equal, that's how you do it in Python, not equal to quit, because quit is ZZZ, right? So that's my test of the control variable. It's saying if name is not equal to quit, then I need to make a call to detail loop. And inside there is where I'm going to alter the control variable. So I go up here to detail loop, I set my constants, then I initialize my part, my part counter. Woo. Oh. Do it one more time. Okay, so I initialize my part counter, and then I also test my counter, print this out, and then I increment my nested loop. I'm sorry, I don't increment. I initialize my nested loop, then I test the loop, alter the control variable, and I keep doing that until it's 3, because I only want to print out 3 numbers on there, 3 blanks. And then I alter the outer part counter until it gets to 5, and then I'm going to return back to my main loop, and I ask, do I want to print out another quiz or not? And if I type in quit, which that should actually be in, enter a quiz name or ZZZ to quit. So I'm using Z's. So why does, because that's what I initialized quit to be right there. Quit is equal to all Z's. So anytime I enter ZZZ, it's going to say it's equal to quit. And then I do end of job. So if I run this, let's see if it works. I think this one works. Let me move it over. Okay, so if I'm gonna, I'll just say quiz 1. There we go. It worked. Enter a quiz. Okay, I'm gonna say quiz 2. It's gonna do it again. So now if I enter ZZZ, it should quit, and it did. Okay, so I gave you all both of those, the payroll and that one, so that you have 2 examples. I can't remember if, yeah, here's payroll. Payroll does it have a nested loop? No, payroll's a little simpler. Okay, it prints out the head, it comes down here to the mainline logic, sets quit equal to all X's, does housekeeping, which in housekeeping, it's going to type out all these report headings. Okay. And then it's going to say, okay, it did housekeeping. While name is not equal to quit, then execute detail loop. So you see this mainline logic doesn't change much for either one of the 2 programs. So if you learn and you make a template that is, this is the mainline logic, then what's going to change is your detail loop, depending upon your particular problem and how you want to end it. We could have still ended this one with all Z's. We didn't have to use all X's. Then my mainline logic would pretty much be the same if I did that. So this doesn't change from the quiz sheet to the payroll. It's just my detail changes, right? And my housekeeping did, because I'm printing out a report. So here I'm going to say run module And when it runs, it's going to say payroll report, name, gross, deductions, and net. And please enter an employee name. So I'll put DW. Enter gross pay. It's not going to, actually, this was set up for a different kind of language, because if you're doing it to the screen and you're asking the user for input, it's better if we put all that input in a file, and we're going to learn how to do that after Unit 5, how to put all the names in a file and read the file in so that it wouldn't right here interrupt your report with please enter an employee name, gross pay, just say 150, DW 150, 37.5 deductions, net is 112.50, and then enter another employee. So this doesn't make a lot of sense because my headings, this is in between. And that's why when we learn to read in a certain, say we had 10 employees, they would all be already coded in a text file, and we'll read it in and print it out. But y'all don't have to do that yet.
You could solve that problem though by printing the headings before each detail line though, right?
You're correct. So instead of going to you'd have to call housekeeping every time, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Okay. Yes, you could do that. Thank you. That's good observation. All right. So let me go back to where is my, okay. So this is, so you need to really go over chapter 5. And if you're still not real clear on loops, then go ahead and watch her videos where she does, talks about loops. And then the one program that I have y'all do, let me go back to Canvas. Okay, so I have you do, there's the Unit 5. Let me go back to Module 3. So you took the Unit 5 test, the Sentinel loop. Oh, this has that due date. Were y'all able to get into Unit 5 test in MindTap, or was it closed?
I just looked at it right now and it looks like it's open, but it had not been when I checked previously. So.
Okay. Well, I should not, let me change this right now. I didn't realize that was, I'll have to go in and change all those due dates. I don't know why I didn't notice that before.
Honestly, that's been my biggest confusion, but it looks like now everything in Module 3 is what we are focusing on, right?
Yes, that's what, I'm sorry. I messed up all those dates because of, I didn't go in and change them when everything else happened. Okay, so Module 3, today is the 8th. And so I always have everything due on it. It'll be due. Module 3 will probably be here is when I'll have that due date. Okay, so I'll go in and change all those dates. I'm really sorry that happened. I should go into let me go in MindTap and make sure that the dates are already open. The coding, it looks like maybe I don't have any dates on the coding. Okay, now there was one also, there's the validating user input one that doesn't let you submit. So that's the one that you just do a screenshot and put the file in there. Now this one, find the one that Braden was talking about, new multiply. Must be, oh, let me make sure first before I forget that the test doesn't have a date on it. Oh, wait, that wasn't how I was supposed to do that. Edit. Should be able, let me show hidden and see. That was when it was available. So it didn't have a due date on it. Okay, I'm gonna set the due date to April 20th. Although you should do that before you do the other stuff. Okay, so I'll go in and that'll be the date on all of them, is that date. But let me see which one. Braden, are you still in there? I don't know if he's in there.
Yeah.
Okay, which one was that newest multiply? Do you
I don't remember.
let me see if it's, there's quite a few in this one. Oh, I see why there are, because I didn't, okay, all these that say C++ and all that, let me go back. Let me show, those are the hidden ones, so it shouldn't show those now. Okay, so let me see if it's this one.
Using a while loop and break statement in Python.
Okay. Using, oh, that is the one that I don't like this one, but you do use this. Those of you that take script programming, and I don't know if any of you that in here are, if you're cyber majors, then you'll take script programming, and they'll use this break statement a lot. But right, well, okay, and this one, didn't I go ahead and give you the actual answer for it, or not? I think I did. It's called newest multiply, so it's going to be okay, so I'm going to just, so this one, uh-oh, is that going to give me bits again? Where is, okay, just, okay, let me close this. Could I? No. All right. Oh, that didn't quit all of it. Let's see here. Okay. Now, let's see if it'll open. Keep losing my, let's see. Why is it not doing that? Close it. Come on, close. It won't close. Quit. Wow. I don't know why it's doing that. It won't quit on me. No, it's not open at all. Maybe I can get it to open here. Let me see. File. Oh, here's what I'll do. Where? Not sure what's happening with my idle and my pie charm. They're messing up on me. Okay, so now, there it is. Okay. All right. So what this one, what you can do is open up the one that I give you. This one's supposed to be, this program prints the numbers 0 through 10 along with these values multiplied by 2 and by 10. So there's no input. And so you would have to put this loop inside. You could copy this inside, but what this one is doing is it's printing the headings, and then it has an if statement down here where it'll break out of the loop. And this is really not good structured code, but in cyber, they use a lot of these breaks because there's times they need to just break out of the loop. So this is actually, this while loop is determined by a true and a false. And so when it runs, it's just saying number of loops, it's initializing them to 10, print 0 through 10 multiplied by 2 and by 10. Then it's called a do while because it's actually you do the body of the loop before you test it. You see, that's what makes this one different. You're going to do everything that's in the body and then you test it at the bottom. So that means it can break out at the bottom instead of the test being as part of the while. And in some languages, that's the reason they're doing this in Python, because if you were doing it in C++ or Java, Java has a do while. Python does not. So this is how it does a do while. It's saying, and if this code isn't in there, I'll put it in there for you. Okay, so, oh, it doesn't like that. It says that must not be lined up right. Yeah, that doesn't look right. Oh, it's not running like that anyway. Let me see. No, I wonder if I put it back just, can't really see what that does, but that shouldn't. No, it doesn't like that break at all. Okay, Braden, did you get yours to run?
Yeah, but I had to make the false true.
Let me see. So why is it doing that? Is that supposed to be the correct one? Let me see. Maybe I did it different. Is it called new multiply or new? No, it's
Newest.
newest. Let's see. It's not going to let me open two at one time. Well, it's trying to run over here. Let me see. So this one is probably, does it say? Oh, if number counter. Oh, wait, if number counter is greater than number of loops. Oh, the break isn't over far enough, maybe? It looks like it should go at the very end. Let me see what I do here. Which doesn't really make sense, but it shows. It doesn't look right. Let me see here. Yeah, it's running here. No. Stopped. That's right. Here's the shell, but it stopped. It's not gonna. So what you're saying, okay, let me open it again. Unit 5. Oh, that isn't it. Ah. So this one did open this time. So what you had to do was change this to true, or down here before it broke out, change it.
The first one.
Oh, you had to change the first one?
Yeah.
Right up here where it says while false, you had to say while true?
Yes.
Huh. Doesn't. True. Yeah, it did work. Because here, let me go.
Yeah, I got it to work, but I have a grade 0, so I think it didn't. This is one of the ones where it wouldn't let me submit it.
It wouldn't let you submit it. Okay. So just, yeah, just do, I can see that you did it. And so I'll give you the, on that one. I don't know why. I don't remember this happening before. Number 0. Maybe if I look at some of those other mind taps that I have numbered 2 and 3, maybe that's why. So it isn't the break statement that's wrong. It was the while true that was wrong. Number loops, write the while loop. What does it tell you about the while loop? Write a while loop that uses the loop control variable to take on the values and breaks when the loop control exceeds 10 in the body of the loop. Oh, it doesn't tell you to use a true or a false. It just, that's what you had to figure out. Did you use the one I sent, but then you realized if you changed it to true? Is that what happened, Braden?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So all of these should be, let me see. Let me go back here and make sure they're included there so you can play with them. Loops. Okay. All right. No, I haven't put them. This one is there. Is this the one? No, that's the one I changed. Okay. All right. So, oh, right here, MindTap Unit 5.zip. That's going to have all of those MindTap programs in it. So if you have problems with one of them that we didn't get through, just unzip that file. And I'm not sure, this one would have been the most current ones. So it's still going to be MindTap, but it's also, I put that one in there. Then this, which I need to go change the, I haven't assigned project 3 yet. And that's what I do in this one is nested loops and functions. It's just one that we did in class. So I'll find the video where we did that in class and load it out there at the YouTube link. But these are the solutions to all the problems that are in chapter 5 at the end of the chapter of MindTap where they're pseudo-coded. That's all that is. And here's where we did a function. There we did some more. These are just examples of things that I did in class. Oh, this should not be published yet. I don't know if anybody got it yet or not. So these are things just to help you, just other examples. But also what I'm going to do is in that YouTube link, I'm going to put all of the ones that I did last semester so you can look at them and see if that helps you any. If you don't need them, don't worry about it. If you're understanding going through the chapter and going through the problems, let me know. And we can do this next week on Monday at 9:30. And I might see also if if people are needing something before that. But since we have till, I think I give you till midnight on Monday the next week to get those done. So if we're having some problems, I'll go ahead and do this again at 9:30 next Monday because that's when this normal class time is. And then if I find some online students that need another one, if they email me, then I'll let everybody know. But none of these are required. These are for just to answer questions and hopefully to help you in this time that's going on. Because I usually do lecture class and copy that even for my online students. So hopefully this has been helpful. I'm gonna I'll save this and I'll load it on the YouTube, this one. And then if you see some that say fall 19, but they are things from unit 5. That's why I've loaded them out there, just in case you want it. And also that way you can scan through and see if there's anything in there that helps you or whatever. So, all right. So anybody have any other questions before I log off?
Thanks.
I was wondering about some of the grades for like the learning Python and some of the homeworks as well. I haven't had them graded since like February.
Yeah. You know, I had a motorcycle accident, right?
Yeah.
And I was out for those 2 weeks, and now I just got my hand back last week. I got my cast off my hand. So I will try to get those caught up. I really apologize for that. I know that's bad for y'all, but I'm seeing double now, and they told me it'd be up to 6 months for my eye fixes my eye. So I'm slower at everything. But I will get those graded. I'll try to get those graded in the next couple of days so you can see where you're at. But everything that you do as far as daily work, mostly, and like all those from the videos, I just give you the points if you did it. Okay, I'm not checking for correct answers on those. And the mind tap is just that you've done those. You know, the only grade that's different is your test in mind tap. You can do it until you make 100%. It's up to you. And that's why I went ahead and graded test 2, because I knew that, and project 2, that was what is determined by whether you got it right or not. The others, if you're doing all of that, you're going to get all those points, if that helps.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you for being patient with me, you guys. And just let me know if there's any other questions.
Are we supposed to do the intro to turtles?
I think that one was a optional one. I think I said on the video it was optional, so it's like bonus points if you do it.
Okay.